We're privileged to be joined this morning by Jane Senior MBE. She is the original Rotherham whistleblower, and she joins us this morning to help try to find ways of us talking about this topic. Jane, thank you for joining us.
Thank you. You're welcome, Katie. Good morning.
Good morning. So, Jane, I guess the big question that people will want to know, that I want to know, is what were you doing leading up to the point that you decided enough, you have to blow the whistle? What was your job? What were you doing? What was your daily kind of workload like?
I was managing the project in Rotherham, the Risky Business Project, that worked with a phenomenal number of young people that were involved in child sexual exploitation. You know, that daily we're talking to us as a staff team about some of the most harrowing stories of trafficking, of rape, of abuse, and in some cases, you know, what I would describe as torture. And nobody was listening, nothing was happening. We were sharing that information. And, you know, sadly, we were not getting listened to, we were not being believed, and our numbers were growing. And one of the things that we found that were quite significant is the ages of some of the young people were also getting lower, you know. So we started in 1999 with the average age being about 14, 15. And by 2011, we were seeing the 11, 12-year-olds starting to come through as referrals.
And Jane, just take us to the point where you decided, that's it, I've got to blow the whistle on this. And I appreciate, I think you're not a big fan of the term whistleblower, but at what point did you decide, that's it, enough? Was it a day? Was it a moment? Was it one more story? Was it? What was that thing that tipped you over the edge?
It was a build-up of lots of different things, but I think if I could pinpoint it to one thing is when I was asked to put together and collate quite a lengthy report on what was happening in that particular year, 2011. And it included lots of information, things that I thought were really good intelligence that the staff team did. It named suspected perpetrators, it identified details. And we handed that in to relevant, you know, organisations, believing that at long last, you know, something would possibly be done. And it was, you know, they closed Risky Business down.
I think, Jane, and so you handed that report in and something was done?
Yes, they closed us down, yes.
They closed you down completely. And when you say closed down, what did they close down?
They closed Risky Business down, basically. It happened very quickly. We was called in on the Friday. We were told that Risky Business was no more. And by the Monday, we were put into the social care model and told that the project was going to be a brand new project and was going to be managed by the social care services.
And what did that mean in terms of closing your department down?
For me personally, it was probably one of the most difficult moments. And for me, I just realised that I could not continue doing what I was doing, and that we was now in a position where cases had to go through thresholds. And you know, it was the point I knew I had to walk away. I had to leave.
And Jane, when we think about now, we know some people have watched the TV drama, some people, I've seen articles discussing it almost as if it's over, almost as if, when we look back, we should have done more. What would you say about the situation today in the UK?
Well, one of the things I always say, and I say it about Rotherham to start with, is we've not had two damning reports and it's made it go away, you know. Child sexual exploitation is happening everywhere. Rotherham's not unique. We know it happens across the UK. We're seeing that with all the court cases, people coming forward. And what we're seeing now as well is a lot more victims of child sexual exploitation having the courage to come forward, report it to the police, ask for support, ask for help.
And Jane, would you say the numbers, in terms of the numbers of cases, do you think the numbers are going up? Are you getting more reports? Is that because people are reporting more? Or do you think grooming gangs are more prevalent than ever before?
I don't work within the child sexual exploitation of children arena now. What I do is I manage a charity, and part of that charity is we do a lot of work with the adult survivors and their family members. So we have a lot of those children that I work with at Risky Business and other staff did that have come back to us as young adults in the 20s, 30s, and for a few of them in the 40s, that are wanting some support, practical support, emotional support.
And can I ask you a question? So Philip here on Twitter is saying, my understanding is that these gangs have been broken up. That fills me with fear reading that. What would you say, Jane, to people that say, my understanding, and rightfully they've been given that understanding that these gangs no longer exist, that these gangs have been broken up? What would you say, Jane?
I think they still exist, but I think, what we have got now is maybe a little bit more, and we're getting better at actually picking up some of them early indicators and actually, working together as agencies to pinpoint and getting there a little bit earlier. But no, and I will keep going back to saying it's not gone away, and what we need to start identifying as well is the amount of families that are affected by this, the support that parents need. We need a blank piece of paper sometimes and think about listening to those that are being affected by this, telling us what needs to happen to make things better.